So my parents got a dog. I want to lead with that because it's important context for why I ended up in this situation. They've been talking about getting one for years. Empty nest stuff, and they finally did it 2 months ago. A 2-year-old rescue named Hank. Some kind of lab mix. A big dopey thing that my mom is completely obsessed with. Which is awesome. Hank seems like a good dog, but the problem is they don't fully trust him alone overnight yet because he's still adjusting and apparently ate an entire couch cushion his second week there. So when they booked a long weekend trip upstate to visit my aunt, they asked me to come stay at the house and watch him. I'm 20, home from school for the summer with no real reason to say no. Free food, a familiar bed, easy enough, I said. That was my first mistake probably. I got to my parents' place Friday evening. They left around 6 I think, and for the first couple of hours everything was completely fine. Hank was happy to see me and we watched TV. I made food and he sat with me by my feet the whole time, which my mom warned me he does. Normal dog stuff. I went to bed around midnight with Hank at the foot of the bed and fell asleep fast. I woke up at some point in the night to Hank growling. Not barking, but growling. Low and continuous. The kind of sound that's more vibration than noise. I sat up and he was standing at the bedroom door facing the hallway. Completely rigid, every muscle in him locked up. I'd known this dog for 2 months and heard him make approximately 0 serious sounds. He was the least intimidating animal I'd ever encountered. Seeing him like that in the dark was genuinely startling. I listened. The house was quiet. I told him to relax and he didn't. He just kept that low growl going with his eyes fixed on the hallway. I got up and checked the house. Every room, every door, and every window. Everything locked and nothing out of place. I even checked the basement, which I hate doing at any hours at night, but I did it. And nothing. I went back to bed. Hank eventually settled and I fell back asleep. In the morning, I'd mostly forgotten about it. Saturday was fine. Took Hank for a long walk, did nothing, ate my parents' food again, and completely relaxed. I went to bed earlier, maybe at 11 or so, tired from the walk. I woke up at 2 a.m. to Hank gone from the bed. I could hear him somewhere in the house. That same low growl, and I got up and followed it. He was in the kitchen standing in front of the basement door, in the same posture as the night before, with the same locked up stillness. I stood there in the dark kitchen in my socks looking at him. I felt something I hadn't felt the night before, which was that the dog was not going to move from the door. I stood there for a long moment, then I heard something on the other side of it. Just a single soft sound, something shifting, like weight redistributing on the wooden basement stairs. One quiet creak and then nothing. I grabbed the knife on the counter, took out the biggest one, and called 911 from the kitchen while Hank stood guard at the door. I whispered the address and told him I thought somebody was in the basement, and the dispatcher told me to stay on the line and stay away from the basement door, which I was obviously happy to do. 2 officers got there in 4 minutes, and I left them in the front, and one of them took Hank by the collar while the other opened the basement door with his hand on his holster. They found him on the stairs. A man, probably mid-40s, sitting on the 4th step from the bottom in the dark, like he'd been there for a while. Not armed or aggressive, but just sitting there. He looked exhausted more than anything. When the officer asked him what he was doing, he said he used to live here. Saying it like that explained everything. He said he just needed somewhere to sleep, and he knew the back basement window latch had always been broken and figured nobody would notice. The broken window latch my parents have apparently had for years and never fixed. The officer looked at me and I looked at the officer. They ran his name. He had a record, nothing violent, mostly trespassing and vagrancy, and he had indeed owned that house at some point and sold it 12 years ago. Whether that made him feel entitled to come back and sleep in the basement, I genuinely could not tell you. He seemed more sad than dangerous though. They took him out and I gave my statement in the kitchen while Hank sat on my feet the whole time. Here's the thing that I keep coming back to though. The officer who cleared the basement walked the whole thing before they brought the guy out. He came back upstairs and mentioned that the old couch down there, the one my parents had been meaning to throw out for years, had apparently been slept on recently. Multiple times recently, he said, based on the indentation and some personal items nearby, like a water bottle and stuff like that. My parents had been in that house 9 years. Hank has been there for 2 months. You can draw your own conclusions about how long this had been going on before Hank showed up and started waking people up at 2 a.m. I fixed the window latch myself the next morning. Bought the hardware at the store down the road and watched a video and got it done in about 20 minutes. I didn't mention it to my parents until they got home. My mom cried a little. My dad immediately went and bought a security system. Hank got an extra treat that night. He deserved probably about 100 of them.